Well, all right, welcome back to Philadelphia Eagles Talk with Geoff and Matt. Another episode underway. First one in a while since we've actually had football underway. Talked to you last week just before camp is open. Camp has been open now. This is going to be day 3 tomorrow. It's actually day 3, not today, but the second day that they actually were on the practice field. So camp underway. Matt and I have a lot of thoughts initially here as far as what we've heard, what we like, what we maybe perhaps don't like so far. I'm going to get right into it. So, Matt, any opening thoughts here? Is the 2025/26 seasons underway?
No, other than I just love football season. Like, I don't mean to be checked out, but it's like, I swear to God, like the end of the season, it's nice to maybe have a week to not pay attention to football, but then I'm right back in it. Like, I'm dying to be into the next football season. So it's awesome that it's here. People are running around, catching footballs, throwing footballs. The Eagles are primed to have another excellent season, no matter how tough their schedule is. They got a lot of talent on that roster, so it's time to just get them all going in the right direction.
Yep, absolutely. I'm going to keep the ring background up until the start of the season because as we've been hearing this week, and I love the messaging. I'm just going to start and kick off the episode about the messaging, the consistent messaging that I'm hearing from the top down. And this is not just like players just saying it just because they think it's the thing to say. You can tell this is like a genuine feeling about this team, and this is why I have no concerns at all, which I very much would. And I maybe even have in past Eagles seasons where they've had either a long, deep run in the playoffs or a Super Bowl championship where you have concerns about a hangover or them just not, kind of going through the motions until the season gets going. This is a team, the messaging is consistent, and that is, it is a 0-0 record. We've done, some of them have gone out and say, like, basically, we haven't done blank this year. I guess I can cuss. We haven't done shit this year. It's a new season, new team. That team's done. Brand new season. Let's go. And it's from Jalen Hurts, the coach, to some even the young guys, the rookies. It's all like one message. And I love hearing it. Every time I hear it, I don't have a mirror in front of me or anything, but I'm sure I get a little smirk on my face like man, that's what I want to hear. So anyway, let's. What are your thoughts on some of what you've heard so far?
I agree. I saw a message from Nick Sirianni. I read an article about him addressing 2 rookies at camp that apparently were probably being a little bit braggadocious, maybe not appreciating the team that they just joined yet. But his response was, "You haven't earned anything yet. You have to earn your jersey. You have to earn your playing time. You have to earn your practice time. You have to earn everything." He's like, "This is Philly," and that's what makes it a difference, right? So they're. Even after the first Super Bowl that we won with Nick Foles, there wasn't this like mentality of like, okay, park it in the rear. Even fans, Eagles Nation were probably clinging to that over the next several years until we got back. But now it's like, no, we absolutely want dynasty. Like last year was great, had a parade, got the rings, that season's done. So here we are in the new one. You got to do it all over again, and you got to take the exact same approach to get there, which is nobody's going to give you anything. So earn it. I love the message. Just earn it. Earn every snap. Earn every play.
I really like the messaging. I think it's extremely genuine. I didn't hear about the Sirianni talk to the rookies. I wonder who those 2 rookies are. It makes me wonder if they're, the top of the line rookies or just some of the ones that they drafted late or just camp invites. Either way, like they didn't mention any names, right? So you don't know who they were.
Nope, didn't say names. Just said addressed a couple of rookies. So
yeah,
not sure who exactly.
Yep. Well, I made
there because it wouldn't be fair to even speculate.
Right, that's true. I made a point also in recent episodes about how much I watch Cooper DeJean and Blankenship's show, which is an awesome show, The Exciting Whiteys, and they have been consistent too in just talking about going into the season. How it's like, can't wait to get it started, and just really getting deep into conversation about how they can't wait. They just can't wait to get the season going, and how serious they were, and kind of breaking things down and talking about how they think they're going to be, those two especially are going to be just in the defense, kind of a little bit of a step ahead from last year, because obviously they had Vic come in last year, so they had to learn a whole new defense. So just that alone, having 2 straight years of Vic in this defense, actually just 1 year, what a turnaround it was. But now they got, the vets that were in the system next year, they're going to be a step ahead because they don't have to learn a brand new defense this year. They're just going to build on what they did last year. And man, we know how well what a step forward they took last year. And just hearing them talk about it, like I said, I mentioned the last couple episodes, and now hearing the messaging coming down from Hurts. I mean, they asked Hurts point blank, "Hey, Jalen, even at the ring ceremony, we didn't even, we didn't see you put your ring on. Have you worn your ring?" He's like, I'm moving on. He's like, I'm moving on. That was his comment. I'm moving on.
And everybody's picking their list of top quarterbacks going into the season. There's been a lot of buzz on social media and, NFL Live and the insiders and all that stuff. Everyone's got their lists. And it's just amazing. They're all talking about Hurts getting disrespected and Cam Newton saying stuff about Hurts and all this stuff. And I'm like, out of all the quarterbacks, out of all of them, I do not want any other quarterback on my team than Jalen Hurts. The guy is a champion. And I'm like, they're all like, well, he just has a great roster, so he's not a great quarterback. I'm like, all right, so yeah, a lot of talent on the roster. You still have a lot of other great quarterbacks in the league. You can't tell me that the Bills don't have a talented roster, that Matt Stafford doesn't have a talented roster, that Lamar Jackson doesn't have a talented roster. So I'm like, there's one difference. Jalen Hurts can bring that talented roster all the way through the season and into the Super Bowl and win it. So I'll take that every time. I don't care about stats. I don't care.
I know. It's like Patrick Mahomes doesn't have a talented roster.
Right.
And he's one too. I'm just saying, like, it works both ways. It's just weird how the dynamic is, Hurts is only good because he's got the straight roster. How about Hurts makes the great roster also good? How come he doesn't help improve A.J. Brown, who's had his best seasons in the Eagles? I mean, you don't think he's improved A.J. Brown's game?
And Hurts has thrown some dimes.
How about Barkley? First year he rushes for 2,000 yards. You don't think Hurts has helped improve Barkley's game? Now, does it help? He's got a good line. Yeah, but it's just it should work both ways, and I think you agree with me here. But
look, before we started the show, I was watching the replay of the Rams-Eagles NFC Championship game, or the playoff game, right? Not the championship game, but the playoff game last year. And especially after all the talk about Hurts and stuff, and I'm like, I forgot that he nailed A.J. Brown on a deep pattern at the end of the first half that Brown fumbled and missed the catch as he's rolling into the end zone. Would have been a touchdown, but Brown fumbled it. I'm like, you would have thrown that.
I'm trying to remember that play, and
at the very
I don't remember it either. I'd have to go back and watch it myself.
Yeah, Eagles get the ball back with about 2 minutes left for one drive in the final half. They're pretty much backed up to their own end zone, so they had the back-to-back screenplays, one to Barkley for like 10 yards, 15 yards, and another one to who's the guy that we lost, Gainwell, right? Another screen pass to Gainwell. We're all of a sudden we're on the 20-yard line. A couple more plays in there, but then he
broke some tackles. Like I think I might remember the Gainwell run. Was it
Gainwell
pass broke a few tackles to make a pretty good gain out of it.
Yeah, Gainwell got like 8 or 9 yards, but the Eagles picked up the first down, and then just a couple plays later, like another bomb goes down the right hash marks down the sideline, and it hits Brown right in the freaking breadbasket, like 100% on time. That ball, when Hurts throws a good ball, that ball is coming like out of the sky, like in the bucket, right? Which is exactly how you want to hit these deep routes, and it was right there. Brown just kind of had butterfingers on that one and lost it. But I'm like, so if Hurts throws that pass and connects it, like, are you then saying that Hurts were like? It's so weird listening to that stuff because I'm like, I seem to remember Cam Newton in the Super Bowl, I believe, watching a fumble just sit on the ground and make.
I was going to say, who's Cam Newton to criticize Jalen Hurts?
And I'm like, that's the difference between a champion and just a highly talented athlete, And
here's the other difference, and you're hitting on it, but you didn't actually say it because you were talking about the actual Brown play. Here's the other huge difference with Hurts. He raises his game in the bigger games, in the playoff games. He plays better in the playoff games, and he plays his best both times head-to-head against Patrick Mahomes. He outplayed Mahomes twice. Lost the first one, because of a couple of crappy call, and it was just a close game. But he outplayed Mahomes in that game, and he
if
clearly outplayed Mahomes last year.
You take away the stats and you say, "Will you be there for our biggest games of the season?" And I'm like, "Yeah, every time he's there." So not toying with this. It's like I can't wait. I mean, we'll see what happens with this season. It's going to take a lot of health. We were a healthy team last year. We dealt with some injuries. We lost Goddard for 3 or 4 games. Hurts missed a game. But if we stay healthy, the team's going to be tough to beat, even with that hard schedule.
Yeah, health is always a key. And by the way, speaking of health, I almost can't say without laughing. If there's a team that is absolutely jinxed by the NFL gods, it's the Jets. And they dodged the bullet because the news is that it's just a broken or dislocated toe. But once again, right as the season begins, they see their quarterback being carted off the field on their first day of camp, and it's like, my God, it really does. I have a little bit of a sympathy for Jets fans, I have to say.
Like, if the Jets
catch a break, man.
If the Jets and the Browns played like every week, that would actually be entertaining bad football. Like, I would watch it and tune in, just be like, how can they be this bad? Like, consistently this bad every time.
Although for the Browns, it's more for the Browns, though, the difference is it's more self-inflicted wounds. Where the Jets, it's like they just can't catch a break other than broken bones, legs, and ACL tears and everything else. But yeah, the Browns just make stupid decision after stupid decision after stupid decision. Although they did resign Miles to Garrett, which was a smart decision. But so the messaging is just really the thing is, because you could say words, but you can mean words, and to me, and I feel I can read people pretty good. It seems really genuine. Like, this isn't a facade. This is like, these guys are serious. In fact, not Lane Johnson. It was who's our Landon
Dickerson.
Landon Dickerson. Thank you. Yeah, Dickerson's like, each season has an expiration date, and ours expired from last year. It's like they all saying it the different way, but they mean it. Like, this is like they're talking serious talk here. And so from an Eagles fan standpoint, we should all really embrace this messaging, because this means this season that now actions speak louder than words. I'm going to expect them to take it on the field this way, but everything you're hearing, this is what you want to hear if you're an Eagles fan. So other than that, it's been a quiet off season. Last year, I remember I had the drama between, that of course it was trumped up by the media, and that, Jalen Hurts, is he getting along with Sirianni? Are these guys getting along? And they need to talk to each other. There's all that crap going on last year. There's a bunch of BS. This year, there hasn't even been much BS for the media to even drum up, other than dumb, which we've already debunked many times, trade rumors that, TJ Watt was being considered by Howie to get him here. And that was totally nonsense. But other than that, nice, quiet offseason for a Super Bowl champion roster here. Another good thing. The other good thing coming into camp, we already see our number 1 draft pick in camp. He's not missing any time. That's huge. I can't remember Jihad
Campbell, no designator at all.
Yeah, not even designated. He's out there already practicing. Now, that was one that was question mark whether he'd miss a little bit of camp or even be ready for the start of the season. He's already out there, so that's awesome. He's going to get some reps. In fact, the only player right now, there's 2 of them that are on the unable to perform list right now, which really doesn't mean anything until the regular season, where you have to kind of be on this list in order to go on the 4-week, I think they call it the pup list or whatever, where you would miss 4 weeks automatically because you're just designated to return, which will probably be Nakobe Dean's designation. I don't think it'll be Juergen, but Juergen is the one that's on the other one on the list. So I think Juergen's is just, he's coming off surgery too, but he's probably going to be out there pretty soon, I would imagine. Maybe he's going to miss a few weeks of camp, maybe a couple weeks. And then will he see Cam Juergens back out there? But Nakobe Dean more than likely will probably start the season with the pup list, which he'll be a 4-week designation where he would have to miss first 4 weeks of the season. I think that's the most likely scenario, although Not necessarily either, but again, he's got to be in this list through camp in order to be on the other list. I found that out by listening to a couple of sources today during the regular season. So don't have to worry about Jurgens so much. He'll be fine, but Nakobe Dean most likely would be designated that to begin the season, which we kind of expect anyway. He had a serious knee injury. So other than that, everybody's there. And a couple other things that I wanted to mention here. Mitchell is, for the first time, they've never done this. The Eagles have never had their number one corner kind of follow whoever the other team's number one is, whether it sets up on the left or the right side. It appears that through camp that Q is going to have that flexibility this year, where if he wants to, cover the number one guy, it appears they might put him on the number one guy regardless of where he lines up. Slay was always like, I got this side of the field, never really fouled. I think maybe 1 or 2 games he might have keyed in on a guy, but for the most part, the Eagles have never really done that. They've just left Slay over there, and then whoever playing opposite of Slay on the other side of the field. But it looks like the Eagles plan on putting Q on the number one wide receiver this year. So that's pretty cool. That's a change.
Well, that frees up a lot of trickery with the rest of the defenders there and moving safety blitzes and corner blitzes and things like that. When you start shadowing a receiver with one guy, man, that's going to be exciting to watch with what everyone else's role is going to be. Vic's going to change it up, which I think is going to be the other thing that keeps the team checked in, especially like this defense has a chance, even with all the players that they lost, they have a chance to be one of the great defenses of all time. I feel that going into the season. So we'll see what happens.
Pump your brakes a little bit there.
I'm not pumping the brakes at all. I have full confidence.
All time.
This defense, because there ain't no learning curve for these rookies that stepped up last year. They already got it. So they're going to get unique little twists and challenges. And if Quentin has to play the whole field or versus the top guy, that's fine. But they've got the talent to really take off, and they have the belief in the coaches, and they have confidence from winning the freaking Super Bowl last year. So this is going to be, I think, and plus the other thing that stood out, watching the Rams replay, Nolan freaking Smith, every play, just active and in play, like causing an impact. These guys are going to make things happen, man. And,
did Hunt play much in that game? Hunt was probably in there a little bit, right? Because they were mixing him in because Graham was
in the game too. Yeah, 58. Making plays, making pressure in Stafford, making him move off the throwing point. Like, you see what happens when you get the quarterback to move off the throwing point. And it impacted Stafford. It impacted even, the only one that's dangerous in that category is Jaden Daniels. He becomes dangerous moving him off the throwing point. But, they handled Mahomes. How many times had Mahomes just been fast enough to escape us? And all the times we've lost to him. And last year they were like, nah.
Not last year, man. They swarmed him. He had nowhere to run. And that game was just hilarious. That first play, the first actual offensive play of the game, if it was already a sign right off the bat what type of game that was going to be. Because he was running for his life the first snap of the game. It's hard to run over to the right. Nowhere to go. He ran all the way back over to the other side. I mean, he had nowhere to go right from the get-go last year in the Super Bowl. Now, I haven't rewatched that game, and I think to the points that you've been making, I think it's overshadowed some of those plays, like how well Smith played and Hunt played, like you said, because of how Carter just totally took over and actually really helped win that game in that last significant drive there by when Stafford was marching him right down the field. It was Carter who just kind of overshadows. Everyone just remembers, Jalen Carter kind of saved the Eagles making that game. So I'm glad you pointed out, which he definitely did. But, you rewatching it and seeing how impactful Smith and Hunt was in that game too is very interesting.
And nobody's fooling anybody. It's because of Carter. But when Carter is that impactful and drawing that much attention, then you need these other guys to be making plays, and they were making those plays consistently. That's still going to be together. Like that's the part where I'm just
pumping the brakes a little bit on there when you come out and jump at the claims and one of the all-time great defense. I'm like,
full speed ahead. This has a chance. This Eagles defense has a chance to be one of the all-time great defenses in a modern era of throwing the ball.
Well, folks, if it happens, you heard it on record. by Matt. So
Indeed.
I think they're going to be good. Don't get me wrong. I think they, I don't know. I'm always a little bit I'm skeptical, but I'm not. It's weird. I'm kind of on the fence because you're really looking for Jalen Hunt to take another step, and we're going to talk about him a little bit more in a minute. And you're also integrating some younger guys at the linebacker position until Nakobe Dean comes back. It's going to be either, Campbell or maybe Trotter, who played a little bit last year, who's going to have to, step up big time. And then, of course, who's going to be that other corner? Is it going to be,
got depth.
What's
They've
that?
got depth. Probably Keely Ringo.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Ringo. Now, Ringo's already been burned a couple times in camp. So, I mean, I'm not going to go crazy over it. I probably shouldn't even use the word burned, but he's been beaten a couple times. First 2 days of camp, I'm not going to get crazy about it. Really not. But, he is, if he's going to be the starter, it's still an unknown quantity over there opposite of Q. And then the other safety position, by the way, I heard something about Sidney Brown today, which, again, just makes me smile and really makes me root for this guy, is apparently, who did he get into it with? The guy that they just brought in to replace Covey, talking about it. It's like, I keep wanting to call him Aeneas Williams, but his name is like A. Williams, and it's the small scat back type guy that they brought in. Anyway, he was playing today, and they made a point to talk about how, again, Sidney Brown was a play, and he, not right after the play, he gets up and like shoves him or did something to him, like gave him a little shove or something like that. Because like Sidney he's always like that anyway. But there's no doubt in my mind he like wants this job.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He does. So and he brings that edge to this team. Probably the only one on this defense that brings you that little extra edge. In fact, I think it was it's the guy that's on Ruben's show a lot. The guy that's with the glasses. They have the podcast.
Yeah, I was watching Ruben this morning, but I can't think of the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the guy that works with Ruben, and they have their own show for NBC. He's really good. I just forget his name on top of my head. But anyway, he said he was talking about this play with Brown, and then he goes, "By the way, I'm going to call it right now. The first training camp fight will involve Sidney Brown." But anyway, I'm not talking about him because he's, a guy that's going to get flagged and hit late and all that. It's not that. I just love the energy that Sidney Brown brings. I'm just rooting for the kid. So as much as everyone's in love with the second round safety that the Eagles are brought in, and I can never remember his name, which is why I keep saying him in general terms. The heck's his name? Makuba? Was it? Andrew
Makuba.
Makuba. Yeah. Makuba, who I want the guy to be great, but I'm just really pulling for Sidney Brown to take the safety position this year, and we'll see what happens. Right now, he's getting the first team reps. Sidney is. So we'll see if that continues.
Well, all Sidney has to do is just hang out with Cooper DeJean and learn how to not miss tackles, and then his game will be complete.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he doesn't have to be a heat-seeking missile on every play. Yeah.
Right.
Which I think Sidney Brown understands. Like, I think he's a smart guy, even though he wants to take everybody's head off back there. I think he knows that, listen, I can't do that. Clearly, I'm not going to be on the field. Vic's not going to play him if he can't trust him making tackles. I think Sidney knows that. We'll find out, but we'll find out.
If he doesn't, he's going to be sitting. Well, the one thing I'm curious to see happen is if Jordan Davis doesn't have to lift an extra 25 pounds like he did last year and can put all that extra force of having to push.
Yeah, he lost 26 pounds. Yeah.
To the guard instead of his own weight. That dude might be a beast. Everyone's talking about how slim down he was. Like I told you earlier, like I saw a snapshot months ago, and I'm like, dude, this guy lost a ton of weight and looks like great physically, and he's still a mammoth guy. Like he's
still a giant.
Yeah, and he is just going to be interesting to watch, and if I don't know how that affects the defensive lineman. If you lose 25 pounds, does that become a detriment? If you can't push people, if you don't have the country strength, like the big, the non-muscular strength, just the country strength type of guys.
The thing about him is he doesn't look that strong. Like even as big as he is, he never gets pushed backward just because he's big. So it's not that. He just
Right.
doesn't always get a consistent pushback. Like you see, of course, Carter, who's not even nearly as big as
Low to power, though.
Jordan
Carter's
is.
low to power.
Yeah, he's low to power, low center of gravity, and he's got obviously great hand speed and technique and moves. He's got the whole package, really. But I mean, if all these things come together in the mix, yeah, the Eagles have a chance to be a really, really good defense. I'm just a little skeptical because you're looking for a lot of things to come together. But yeah, if they do,
They don't have anything else to worry about. I don't think they have much pressure on them to repeat. Everyone knows they have a tough schedule. I think that's what's making them get their ears to the grindstone right now, and I think that's what's going to drive this team to greatness again. Like, I just can't wait.
Kind of not concerned about the schedule, but like, damn, the freaking Eagles schedule's tough. But it's like, to your point, maybe because it's such a tough schedule right off the bat and really through the whole season, that they know they have to freaking be ready to go start the season. Dallas, always a tough, divisional game. On to Kansas City and division, rematch of Super Bowl in Kansas City, and then back week 3 for the Rams, who gave the Eagles the toughest game that they even had in the playoffs last year. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough right off the bat. Man, Eagles gonna be tested, and they got to be ready to go full throttle. So again, it gets back to the messaging, which is why it's really good to hear what they're saying. Let's talk about Jalen Hunt, because he's getting praise from not only Jordan Mailata. Like, Mailata's like, I don't know what the heck's going on. I wish Howie would give me a break here because we get rid of Sweat and now I'm dealing with Jalen Hunt. So just that comment alone makes you want. I mean, that's high praise from Mailata, who is one of the top tackles in the league. I mean, he has achieved that status. And Mailata is also a guy who's not just going to say that. Like, he's a pretty serious guy too. He could be kind of goofy every once in a while, but when he talks football, he's always very serious. And this guy knows. And he's blocked against some of the best pass rushers in the league, and he is praising Jalen Hunt big time, like going out of his way to say really good things about him. As is Carter. So obviously Carter knows a good defensive player when he sees one. So between those two guys talking up Jalen Hunt, and I think Smith has also said some really good things about him. So, and we've seen it. So we've only seen little flashes of it towards the end of the season, but that's when he was actually playing more. So that's the only really sample we have is when he was on the field and he was making an impact. In the Super Bowl, he was all over Mahomes. I tell you what, if he continues to take a leap, like even if he takes like a half a leap from what he made last year, you're looking at maybe a Pro Bowl player in Hunt already this year.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that continues to develop. But, at the same time, that's also just rock solid leadership coming from a guy like Jordan Mailata, who's well established on this team. And, of course, you're not going to say anything that's going to crush an up-and-coming player's confidence. So part of the leadership part of that is building their confidence. But, there's lots of guys on the team as well. So they could be saying this about everybody. So it's a good thing that they're saying about Hunt. Hunt's probably the number one guy. I mean, if you were to write out the starting lineup right now, the starting defensive line would look like what? Jalen Hunt on one side with Nolan Smith on the other, with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in the middle, or a Jomo playing end or playing tackle. I mean,
yeah,
I guess the starting 4 would be those 4 that I just mentioned, with a Jomo possibly, rotating.
Yeah, I think Jomo. I mean, Carter. It all depends on Carter, really. I mean, not Carter, but Davis, because Jomo actually played more snaps last year than Davis did. So it's basically 1 and 1, or again, 1 and 1A, or I should say B1 and B2, because A is Carter, but it's kind of like either one of those guys could be the quote unquote starter opposite of Carter. But yeah, it's going to be Smith, it's going to be Hunt, it's going to be Carter, and it's going to be Jomo and Davis, as far as the starting line. And then behind it, that's probably my only concern is the depth. We need one of these, especially in the end. We need one of these guys to step up, that they brought in. Some of these free agents, the guy they brought in from the Giants, the guy they brought in from the Chiefs. Yeah. One of those guys, at least one of those guys, needs to be rotating in and giving some good production.
I think that's exactly why they got the guy from the Giants. I can't remember his name. It's hard to pronounce. But that guy had 8 sacks last year, and he played the end position and played it well on a defense that had a pretty good year for the Giants. So we'll see who starts to develop over the next several weeks. But again, like it's that month of football in September where we'll really start to see these guys shake out, and the ones that can play can play. The funny thing about Hunt is, I always remember when Ike Reese was a linebacker, but the Eagles had like that one season where they were so thin at defensive end that they just had Ike Reese playing snaps at end. And there's something about a guy. Yeah, there's something about a guy that's too thin that gives like offensive linemen a tough time. Like they just can't get their hands on the rusher because they too skinny. If he's spinning, if he's moving,
that they're all number 58. Think about it, right?
Yeah. It reminds me of that because of the number and the way that they play. It's just reckless.
Trent Cole was kind of an undersized, lineman. It was 58, and now Hunt's 58. It's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, perfect number for him.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting. We'll see how that all plays out. You got any other nuggets on that list there for training?
No, I definitely want to talk about Hunt because I just feel that like I'm going to be watching that guy with excitement, and just the fact that again the Eagles found this guy in the 3rd round. I mean, he's going to be a potential. Again, we got to see it on the field more. We saw it last year, but now he's going to be a starter. Now he's a starter. Now he is the guy there. And if he continues to take these leaps, it's like, man, we got this guy in the 3rd round. And I remember other teams were talking high about him too, and looking at him in the 3rd or 4th round and really were high in him. I don't know how high you could be on a guy if you're like looking to draft him in the later in the 3rd or the 4th round. But to me, it's like, it just made me, I was just thinking about this today. I'm like, if you're really that high on a guy and you're lucky enough to get him in the 3rd round, why wouldn't you take him higher? I mean, I'm glad the Eagles got him in the 3rd round, but it's like, I mean, this guy's, again, I don't want to get too far ahead. He's got a lot to still prove, but this could be an absolute, like, mammoth steal pick that we're talking about maybe in 2 years, where he's like a 15-sack guy in the NFL. I mean, he's got that type of ability.
I would say pump the brakes on that one.
So we're both pumping the brakes on each other. I said in 2 years, though. I'm not saying next year. I said in 2 years.
Yeah. 15 sacks in a season for J.L.X. Hunt. That would be
in 2 years. I say in 2 years.
Look, they drafted him in the 3rd round because he came from such a small school and played safety up until the Eagles turned him into a defense.
That's true.
So, no, they did draft him about as high as you could possibly draft that guy. He may not even been on.
But they were talking about the traits. Like, yeah, I understand small school, played safety, barely played any DN. So, okay, it definitely makes sense. I understand what you're saying. But they all talked about the traits. Like the Eagles talked about, well, he's got traits to be a defensive end, and some of these other teams that were high him, he had the traits. We liked his traits to be a DN. It's like, okay, well then take the shot. The Eagles took the shot, to their credit, but I don't know. I guess like if I was kind of just putting myself in a situation, I'm like, man, if I saw this guy, it's like what happened to Vaughn last year, right? Vaughn was like lost in the NFL and the Saints. Hardly played, mainly a special teams guy, played a little bit of 3rd down on the Saints. And Eagles bring him over here. Even Howie just brought him over here as like a depth guy, not the starter or anything. And Vic looked at him and was like, you know what? I think this guy can play. Yeah. And Vic's like, I'm going to put him there. And the guy becomes a freaking all-pro. I don't know. It's just something that I was just pondering as I was driving home today, stuck in traffic. Let me see. I don't really have anything else to really note. I wanted to touch on those. I know what else I want to talk about. Let's talk about our friends in Dallas and in New York. Really quick in New York because there's a lot more to talk about in Dallas. So the number 1 pick, and again, I know it's preseason, but it's just funny. It just makes me laugh because Giants fans are already losing their minds. So Jackson Dart, right? He's had 2 straight days of camp, and he's thrown picks in both. Again,
his first throw was
his first throw was picked off actually, and I think a pick 6. I think it was a pick 6. But anyway, I know it's early. It's just funny how like the Giants are already flipping out about oh, they just messed up picking this guy. And I know it's way too early. I'm just having fun poking at them, poking at the Giants. But the Cowboys, God, do we love Jerry Jones. This guy is already blowing up his team before their camp opens, throwing their quarterback under the bus, throwing their best player under the bus, and Mika Parsons. I'm like, what the? I mean, you really start to wonder now, is Jerry senile? Like, is he really starting to lose, like, go nuts? Because I don't know what he's doing. He still hasn't even signed Parsons. So not only are you going to take off your best player potentially before the season starts, but you still haven't even signed him. You don't even have him in contract yet. What is Jerry doing? Have you heard what's been going on?
No, I think Jerry, like all egomaniacs, thinks that he can't be questioned or challenged on anything. He doesn't care. I don't think he's going to budge. I think the whole reason why Jerry Jones says that is because he is bitter about not having them on the field last year. And he's bitter that he's throwing that out there so that he doesn't have to pay Micah Parsons a lot of money, especially after TJ Watt signing. So that's Jerry being Jerry. There's no other thing to say about that. One thing I'll say about the Giants, though, is if you're a Giants fan, isn't it better to watch a rookie quarterback throw pick sixes than Daniel Jones in every training camp? So there's a positive there.
I agree. I just think, again, when it comes down to, I think, is the Giants have been losing for so long now. They don't have the patience to. That's why they're just kind of jumping off. I don't say they're jumping off the ship, but they're just having this overreaction already because they've been. I mean, let's face it. The Giants are a prideful fan base. They're a team. They're a lot like Eagle fans, Giants fans, in the sense that they're very passionate about their team, and they're generally pretty smart football people. They know football, and they're not used to losing. I mean, let's think. It's almost like the Eagles and Giants franchises have done a total flip flop. The Giants were always good in the late '80s, won Super Bowls. They even won Super Bowls in the early 2000s when the Eagles went to Super Bowl but didn't win it. The Giants still won two. They won two Super Bowls in the early 2000s, right? They beat the Patriots, right? The undefeated Patriot team. So anyway, they've completely flipped in the last 15 years. Like the Eagles have been the definitely much more dominant team, and the Giants have gone on for like 10 straight seasons of crap football. And I just think that when they have another first-round draft pick, and especially after coming off Daniel Jones and all these losing seasons, they have a guy that comes in and throws picks in his first two training camp games. I just think they're all like, my God, did we screw up again? I think that's kind of what it is. I'm not saying the guy's not going to be good or anything. I just was pointing out that I still like to laugh at the Giants and their pain because I hope they have another 10 losing seasons.
Yeah, well, I don't know what happens. The Giants don't seem to fire their coaches during the season, but I think Dable has so much pressure on him to have something positive happen with this team. And if there's anyone that's screwed the most on the Giants team, it's Dable. He comes in and the team makes him commit to Daniel Jones for 3 years out of his first coaching tenure. And now he's going to work with a reach that some people are saying with going for Jackson Dart. So who knows? Who knows what to expect? I actually think that Shedeur Sanders is going to surprise a lot of people out in Cleveland. Like every clip I've seen of Shedeur Sanders at practice and throwing balls looks like he's on the money. And I'm like, you got
one point. I also heard, and I don't know if this, maybe I just heard this, and I'm not sure. I don't remember what the source is, but I heard that they already named Watson the starting quarterback.
I don't know. I haven't heard the Browns. I know the Giants named Russell Wilson.
I either heard or read that somewhere, like today. But
yeah,
I don't know how good the source is. It wasn't like a Facebook message or anything like that. It was actually a legitimate, like, news article, quote unquote news article.
Yeah, with AI, I wouldn't believe it. I know Russell Wilson's starting for the Giants because that's been declared. JJ McCarthy's starting for the Vikings because that's been declared.
Yep.
Any of these other teams that have bona fide starters, there's no issue there. But we'll see. I don't know. I can't wait. I guess our first, it's not going to take long before we got preseason games coming, right?
There's only three. Only 3 games again this year.
Right. We've got Ravens, Bengals, and Jets, I think, again.
I think so, yeah. I think for sure it's the Jets, and I'm pretty sure it's the Ravens. Not sure about Cincinnati, but you could be right about that. I'm not quite sure about that. Could be. I'll look it up real quick.
Commanders still haven't signed Terry McLaurin, by the way, so that's the other big news with the other NFC East rival is Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I'm thinking about bringing John. I'm going to get John on before the season starts. Our friend, Commander fan. We'll get him on to talk some Commanders and see how they're doing. But yeah, I don't think he's signed either. I think you're right about that.
No, he has not signed. He's in the area waiting to sign a contract, but he's holding out of camp. So all of DC's like, what are you doing with our number one top guy? Like, would you please sign him? So, and I don't know what they're holding out for. It's not like there's other big wide receivers that are still out there waiting to sign. You know, like,
right?
Just sign. I don't get it. I don't get what the big deal is. Sign.
Yeah,
Terry
it's not
McLaurin.
like they don't have the money. They have the money there in Washington. So I don't get it. So it's not the Ravens. So it's Cincinnati, the Browns, and the Jets. Those are the three preseason games.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so we'll see a lot of the Browns' 4 quarterbacks. Man, I don't think Watson sees the field.
Yep.
To be honest, I think you're going to see Joe.
No,
Flacco.
I mean in preseason, yeah, but I don't think. Yeah.
No, I mean all season. I don't think Watson's going to play it down. It's useless.
I swear I read somewhere that they named them the starter. I mean, I could be wrong. I didn't read the article. I think I just saw a headline.
Yeah. That's
so.
I don't even think
don't quote me on that, folks. Anyone who's listening, I don't know how valid that article was. So I just remember seeing it, coming across it today.
Could be more accurate than my information about Nick Chubb being a free agent.
Yeah. By the way, what's your friend's name down in Florida? Who I always forget his name. That watches. Corey. I want to thank Corey again for a message. He on the last video, he was like, first, put a first comment under there. First comment. By the way, everybody join Corey. Corey's leading by example out there. He is posting comments on our videos. We need to see more comments. Follow Corey. All right. Let us know. Interact with us. Ask some questions. Give us some comments. What do you guys think are some keys here in campus? Campus opens up, and who are you high on? What battles are you kind of looking forward to? What's your thought process heading into the season? Let us know, and we'll talk about them next podcast. All right. So, and while you're at it, make sure you like and subscribe. All right. So that's important. So yeah, Corey, thanks again for your feedback. And he's a Bucks fan?
He is a Niners fan, but he's local to Tampa Bay. He's a huge Mike Evans fan, pays attention to Bucks football, but is really a Niners fan, but appreciates football in both of those teams. So, huge Mike Evans fan.
Well, we'll definitely.
Who wouldn't?
If the 49ers and Eagles play in the playoffs this year, he's more than welcome to come on and talk about his 49ers. So we'll throw that invite up there if that game is to ever happen, because I know they're not playing each other. They're in the regular season this year. I don't believe. I don't think so.
We can have him pitch a few of his most recent favorite bourbons too, because he's a bourbon connoisseur. There's a pitch for Corey to be.
Yeah, and
start his own YouTube.
Yeah, and just we'll end the program on a little bit off topic Eagle stuff, because. Tell you what, in my generation or our generation, man, we've taken freaking a couple big time hits this week with some unfortunate passings. One, of course, the legendary Ozzy Osbourne. Again, this is totally off Eagle subjects, but these are big time icons. And so we lost Ozzy Osbourne a couple days ago, and then today the news about Hulk Hogan passing away, just another, my God, it just feels like part of my childhood's been stripped away with both of these guys. Especially Hogan, huge fan. It was when I did watch wrestling. He was the guy. And just that news today hit me. Well, you're the one that actually gave it to me. I'm driving home from my customer visit today. And that's when I got your text, and I'm like, man, I'm almost wow, I couldn't believe it. And then, so yeah, both Hulk Hogan and Ozzy Osbourne have both passed, and then Malcolm Jamal Warner too. For those of us who grew up on the Cosby Show,
right? Like childhood icons. It's crazy.
Yeah, what a horrible week.
Hogan was a surprise, and that was a heart attack apparently. And he was 71 years old. And speaking of Tampa, he lives in Clearwater, Florida, which just outside of Tampa, across the bay there. But Malcolm Jamal Warner, I guess, was just swimming with his daughter in rough seas. Probably
Yeah,
shouldn't have
he
been
got
out
caught up in a
there.
riptide, drowned.
Yeah, gotta be smart, man, with the ocean. And then Ozzy, I think everyone's been sitting on Ozzy for a while.
I think most people were surprised Ozzy made it to 76, quite honestly. But still,
yeah,
he's a legendary. I mean, he doesn't get much bigger than Ozzy Osbourne. So,
no, nope.
Yeah.
So many songs, so many awesome songs from Black Sabbath all the way through his early years with Blizzard of Oz, and 2 albums with Randy Rhoads, the rest of them with Jakey. I mean, always had fantastic guitarists, even between
always
Zach
had
Wild
great guitarists.
and Randy Rhoads.
Yeah.
Just amazing. Like,
I tell you, it's like, yeah, you mentioned, his days with Sabbath and some of the iconic songs that he did with them, and I got into Ozzy kind of later. I mean, I always appreciate those songs. Don't get me wrong. I have some Black Sabbath too, but I have like 4 Ozzy Osbourne CDs, and most of them were in his, I guess former years or later years. Not really former years, but and some of his underrated songs that I like personally are not even ones that are really like his known hits. Like, I love Mr. Taker Train, and I love Hellraiser.
The lyrics don't play well when it's about child abduction.
No, I know, but I'm just saying the song itself. Yeah, I'm not talking about the lyrics. You know me, I barely listen to the lyrics or even can recite them back, that's for sure. But no, I'm just like, just a song, the beat, the heaviness of it. I just thought that both of those songs were very underrated, and some of my favorites. Hellraiser's another one. Obviously, Mama, I'm Coming Home. That is one of his bigger hits, but that's the same album. That's the same album, I believe, that Tinker Train's on, and maybe even Hellraiser. Can't remember. But anyway, just super talented. Mr. all his way to his earlier days with Randy Rhoads, like you mentioned. I mean, he played with 2 of the best guitarists of all time. Randy Rhoads, Zach Wild. Talking about the best of the best, the elite of the elite. So anyway, our thoughts and prayers go out to the families of Hulk Hogan and Ozzy and Malcolm Jamal Warner. I guess they say they come in threes, and they got 3 major hits this week. Man.
Yeah. Theo Huxtable, man, like, who didn't grow up with the people of our generation? It was the Cosby Show that like we all grew up with.
Cosby Show was like the show. Yeah, it was breaking records back in the day for viewership. I think it had like 7 or 8 seasons where it was the number one, and I think it ran for like almost a decade. Yeah, that was like the show. And so we grew up. Matt and I grew up watching him. He was a teenager on the show. He was like our age. He was a little older than me. I think he was 54, so he's got a couple of years on me. And growing up on Ozzy, I got introduced from Ozzy just from people in my classmates. I kind of just was listening to Sabbath. I think it was actually, and nobody here knows this guy, but I think it was Anthony Matt who introduced me to Ozzy and Black Sabbath. I think it was Anthony, actually.
It's pretty crazy that's a band that I remember listening to or hearing for the first time in elementary school with Bark at the Moon.
Yeah.
And then hearing him perform, like he's performed literally up until 2 weeks before he died. So amazing.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to mention that. So it almost makes you wonder sometimes if like he knew that he was coming to the end, and or it's just total coincidence or the other. But I'm sure he
the
knew
story behind his.
He had Parkinson's, right?
Story behind his life.
He had Parkinson's for several years.
Yeah, and he quit. He didn't take any of his meds for his show so that he could be alive and mobile and lucid Ozzy. But he must have had some going on, like because he's had failed back surgeries and all this other stuff. Like he can't really stand on his own, and same time, all of his thoughts were, "I have one more great show to give, and I'm going to give
it makes you
everything
wonder.
I got."
I knew that he was towards the getting there towards the end. Now Hogan was more of a surprise. Not he's 71, but speaking of back, he's another guy he just had a recent back surgery too, and he's had a ton of them with all of his injuries in his career. He's had multiple back operations, and he just had one recently. So I'm not saying that was the reason for, but it's just ironic that they both had back surgeries and stuff like that. But yeah, two big hits this week. So I'm sure we're not the only ones that were kind of startled and shocked by those news, both of those passings. Back to the Eagles now, shifting gears. Any closing comments as we close out the show? I think
we just end the show on that.
What we're going to do is, I know I mentioned, I think that, we're going to start doing 2 shows a week. I know Saturday, Matt, is not going to work for you, but I may come on and do a quick solo show on Saturday just to catch up on what's going on with camp over the next couple of days. Maybe not. We'll see what develops. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with another episode talking about camp. I'm going to try to get maybe Johnny to come on and talk about the Commanders and his thoughts on camp and so forth. Maybe talk certainly about McLaren and what's going on there. Maybe McLaren will be signed by then, but if not, we'll get Johnny's insight on that, and we'll try to see if we can get him on here to talk about the Commanders a little bit as well as of course our Birds. All right. So, any other closing thoughts, Matt, before we wrap this one up?
Nope. Let's get to preseason.
Let's stay healthy. Let's make sure our Birds stay healthy, because there's already been some injuries in camp throughout the league, but so far so good. Everyone's good so far through the first couple of days here, because injury is always going to play a role, as far as how this team, how the season goes. So we'll hope that we stay free from the injury bug. All right. With that said, thanks again for watching. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and do all those fun things. Make sure you comment, say hello, say anything. Just be like Corey and just say first message. It doesn't matter. Just let us know you're out there. With that being said, thanks again for watching. Go Birds, fly Eagles fly, and we'll catch you next time. Take care. Peace.